Thanks, Anne, and welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for taking this time over the noon hour to be with us. I'm with the Cooper Foundation. I've been involved with NAM for probably a couple of decades now through my work at the Cooper Foundation, and for several years as a board member and now as president-elect. And I'm so proud to be affiliated with this organization. We have so much to offer our members with trainings and services and advocacy for the whole field, really. So welcome, and I will turn it over now to our fearless leader, Anne Hindery, who will tell us about our year. Anne?
Thank you, Victoria. And yeah, thank you, Erin. So this is our annual member meeting. We're excited to have you all here. Just briefly, we have a fairly short agenda for today. So the next slide. Victoria just did the welcome. I'll be doing the CEO State of NAM report. You'll see all the different things that we're going to talk about. And so that's kind of the flow of business for today. But before we dive into all things NAM, I do want to take a moment and thank our sponsor for today's annual meeting, as well as this afternoon. We're having our holiday party, 4:30 to 6:30 here at NAM. So if you're in the Omaha area, even if you didn't RSVP, stop by. It'll be fun. It'll be great. And so FNIC, they've been a longtime NAM business partner. They offer great benefits, insurance, retirement, risk management. I just filled out my cybersecurity insurance policy for next year. So they've been a longtime NAM supporter. So if you see them anywhere, but especially tonight, make sure you thank them for underwriting it. And Abby just dropped in the chat where the party is. So thanks, Abby. So I also want to take this opportunity to acknowledge and thank the current NAM board members. You can see our current board. It's a great board. We've had great conversations, and I'm really fortunate to have such strong people on our board that really work with us. I see quite a few of our current board members, your photos or names in here. So maybe wave at everybody. If you're a current NAM board member, give a wave virtually, or really do it, your little emojicon, whatever. So just want to say thank you to that. James Syme, our current board president, he's at the United Way event. So Victoria Grasso is going to be playing the role of James Syme today. And with that, let's kind of talk about what's going on, what has been going on this year at NAM. But first, I'd be remiss if we didn't give a shout out to the NAM team. I saw Abby, Hannah, and Kelly on. I know Tracy and Steve have meetings. Rosie's doing a board masters in the other room, but this is who makes the magic happen. Everybody knows the folks on this list: Rosie, Abby, Kelly, Steve, Aaron, Tracy, Aaron, and Hannah. They're really, for a small staff of 9, I think they do amazing work. We're really grateful that they're here, that they're engaged with NAM, with the nonprofit sector, and help us make our job, which is to make your jobs easier. So thanks, team. Woo! Okay. So now this is what we've kind of done over the last couple of years. I would say I'm going to go through this, hopefully not too fast, but if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat box. And I know Aaron and I and any of the NAM staff will try and monitor that chat box, and we can get to any questions that might arise. So as of yesterday, we had 801 nonprofit organizational members. When I started, we were about at 200. And quite frankly, we stayed around 200 to 250 until we hired Kelly Kepsel, our first membership person. And he is the reason this has grown. Kelly and his team of Aaron and Aaron have really made all the difference in the world. We had more than 1,600 people attend trainings this past year. And that's the work that Rosie, Hannah, and Abby do with the program team, making that magic happen. Been a combination of in-person, Zoom, a few hybrid. We try to either have one or the other. What's it been, 4 or 5 years ago, we started the financial management services. We basically hired the accounting talent that our members may not be able to afford. And so Tracy and Steve work on that and average between 45 and 55 nonprofit clients a month. And so that's really something I think, to have consistency and quality financials makes all the difference in the world. Our retirement plan, we have a multiple employer retirement plan, a 403B. We have more than 100 nonprofit organizations that participate. We have assets of around $47 million in there. This is, I say this all the time. If we're going to attract smart people to the nonprofit sector, we better pay them enough to pay off their student loans, give them benefits and flexibility. And so this is one way that we can help do that right now. We have 66 organizations in NAM's Employee Assistance Program. This is the third year, I believe, for that. And so that's something that, especially during the pandemic, we were really glad to have that resource for our members to be able to access for their employees and their families. And then the next slide. Board masters. I mentioned Rosie's doing one right now, so I guess we're now at 151 board masters trainings. That is a 4-hour training. When she does them online, she does it an hour, like over lunch for a week. It's a great way to kind of dive in, because unless you've been on a really good or really bad nonprofit board, a lot of people really don't have a clue as to what all that entails, and that it really takes skills and responsibilities that you need to have. We just graduated class 16 of the Nonprofit Executive Institute. So think Leadership Lincoln for nonprofits is basically what that is. It's a cohort based. Class 17 will start in January. But since we started this program in 2007, we have graduated 285 leaders. The NAM career page, the career page is definitely the most visited page on the NAM website. We've had 730 jobs posted year to date on that. We're all aware of the nonprofit workforce shortages. Our members get to post jobs here for free to try and address those shortages. And if you're not yet a member, you have to pay $100. So one more reason to join NAM and save a little bit of money. We do our monthly CEO and HR roundtables. We started doing those via Zoom during the pandemic, and we'll continue to do so because we get great participation from across the state. So we love that. The CEO roundtables will resume in February. They're the first Tuesday of every month at noon. And the HR roundtables will resume in January. It's the fourth Wednesday of the month at noon. You can go to the NAM calendar and sign up for that. And it's just a great place to network, to ask questions, to learn about what's going on, what people are seeing happening in the community, and the trends and issues that we're all dealing with. We have a BIPOC leadership group that meets monthly. It's facilitated by Serena Dacus, and trying to figure out how can NAM be a resource or stay out of the way on what are the emerging needs from leaders on that. Our salary and benefits survey. We had more than 300, we had exactly 331 organizations participated this year in the most recent one. This is a great tool. You need to justify your executive compensation to the IRS. But even more important than that, we also look at all the different benefits. So you know what the competition's offering as far as healthcare, retirement plans, insurance, medical insurance, vacation days, benefits, all those types of things. So that's a really great report. And now let's see the Central Nebraska Nonprofit Conference. We held that this spring in Kearney. We had 155 folks that attended. It's a day-and-a-half conference. In November, just about a month ago, we had the Nonprofit Summit of the Midlands out at the La Vista Conference Center, and we had 386 attendees. So we were super excited about that. The Racial Equity Institute. We partnered with several local foundations to provide that. We offered it 10 times this past year. And then we also did the groundwater session, which is a 4-hour chunk. We did that twice this year. This year, the fundraising school was offered in Omaha, and we sold out of that. We're excited about that. And then the fundraising palooza was offered in June, I believe, June or July. It's usually offered, early summer, and that sold out as well. So we were really excited to see that. And so now let's move on to kind of the financial health. As members, you need to be aware of that, what we do. So as you'll see, our revenue, I'm offering this report on behalf of our treasurer, Christine Hull with Nebraska Appleseed. She had a conflict today, and so I'm presenting this report on her behalf. This chart indicates where our revenue comes from. You'll see our biggest share comes from grants, followed by program fees and then membership. This is not unusual for a type organization such as NAM. And then if we go to our expenses, the next slide, you'll see that personnel and training expenses are the largest portion, which again is not unusual. These numbers are from 2022. We'll do this again for 2023 once we get our year-end report from that. And then the next slide, here are links. You can, we'll send you this PowerPoint afterwards, and you can click on these links, or you can just go to our website under the transparency section of the About Us. We have everything listed. So NAM actually does 2 audits every year. We do an organizational audit annually, and we also do an audit of the 403B plan. Both of these are independent audits. They were both clean audits, so which means you got an unmodified opinion. They're clean audits. There was no deficiencies or material weaknesses. And then there's also a link here or on the website to our Form 990, our tax return for 2022. And I think with that, I am now going to turn it over to Jasmine Harris, who is the chair of the NAM Public Policy Committee. Jasmine?
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Jasmine Harris, again with RISE, and current board member and policy committee chair. All the work is done by Hannah and Ann, so I take no credit for any of this. So just going to give you updates on what the committee has been up to for 2023. So around federal legislation, we've been following the Streamlining Federal Grants Act, and what that is designed to fix the broken and antiquated grants and contracting system. As nonprofits, if you've been involved in any of the federal grant processes, you know how cumbersome those can be. So this is something that's to help streamline that. They're also following the Volunteer Driver Tax Appreciation Act. Currently, volunteers are reimbursed at the rate of 14 cents, and that's been like that for, I'm guessing, decades. And so it's trying to get the reimbursement up to what the IRS reimburses at mileage rate right now. And currently that's at 65.5 cents. So you can see how beneficial that would be. We're also following the Charitable Act. This would allow for an above the line tax deduction for non-itemizers. This is something that existed for about 1.5 years under the CARES Act, and it really helped out with donations. Senator Ricketts is the co-signer of that from Nebraska. And the Nonprofit Seat Act, stakeholders engaging and advancing together. This would ensure nonprofits have a seat at the table when formal partnerships are being established with the federal policymakers. So for example, when the Paycheck Protection Program was released, this was the first time nonprofits were eligible for this type of loan from the SBA, yet the application was not nonprofit friendly. So again, having people from the nonprofit area at the table when these things are being put together will go a long way. And that's all federal. Some of the state legislation that we looked at or supported or weighed in on, Amendment 1662 to Nebraska's budget bill that gave the auditor funds to audit the state agency spending ARPA dollars. And I think that was, at one point was vetoed, and we rallied around that to get that passed. So that's something that we participated in. We also sent in opposition to LB 297 and LB 41, which were so-called donor privacy bills. LB 41 takes oversight of nonprofits to the unicameral and not the Attorney General's office. And LB 297 would prohibit state agencies from requiring nonprofit organizations to provide personal information regarding their donors, including law enforcement. One of the other things we also did was sign a letter asking senators to oppose LB 574 and 575, which is anti-trans legislation, and we consider that to be a workforce issue, and that's where our opposition lies. We were also monitoring Legislative Resolution 179, which was an interim study, and that looked at the public's participation in the legislative process. And it was a 2-survey breakdown of this process or this hearing or study, sorry. The first survey asked for the perception of the problem of public participating in legislative processes. And the second survey asked for suggestions to those solutions. And so we're still waiting for that information to come out of that. And then I think I have one more slide. And we have been tracking how the state has been spending the ARPA dollars.
Bye, Kendall.
NAM is the only organization outside of the auditor's office that is actually monitoring the state agencies and how they spend those funds. Um, and then if you go to NAM's website under the advocacy tab, you can find the Nebraska Nonprofit Workforce Shortage Report that Ann mentioned, how there's just shortages in the area. And so that really keys in to Nebraska's workforce shortage. And then also our policy agendas on there. So we look forward to going into 2024, carrying out the same mission and ensuring that nonprofits are represented well when it comes to public policy.
Thanks, Jasmine. And Hannah, good call dropping in the chat. We, in partnership with the Coalition for Strong Nebraska and the Civic Engagement Table, we have Thursday weekly advocacy calls for nonprofits. It's a great time. She dropped in there how to register for it. Good information so we can all stay connected. We had our first one last week, and they're at noon via Zoom. And so with that, I would like to turn it over to our Vice Chair, Victoria Grasso. Victoria?
Thanks, Ann. Well, it's my great honor to recognize an outgoing board member and thank her for her service. The incomparable Jennifer Scala with the Nebraska Children and Families Foundation has served on the NAM board for 6 years, so she is terming off. I wish we could keep her and she wishes she could stay, but that's our best practice. Jenny serves as the chair of our nominating committee and also chaired our public policy committee as well. She really exemplifies a dedicated, engaged board member, and we want to thank her for her service and wish her well. I don't think she's on the call, but if you see her, thank her. She's done a great job for us.
She's in Grand Island and couldn't join us today.
Is this you or me, Ann? Sorry.
I'll start and then you can chime in. How about that?
Okay.
So, the NAM, our members, you're who votes on who's on our board. So how our process, and that's in our bylaws, we're a membership organization. And so how the process works is the nominating committee meets at least quarterly, sometimes more often. They go through, they get names, recommendations. Every other year, we do a survey to get interest of those who might be from names of those who might be interested in being on the NAM board. And then the nominating committee takes us to the board of directors, and then the board of directors reviews it. And this is coming as a motion from the board to everyone. We had votes. We had really robust voting on that. We had a week for everyone to vote. And so let's tell you who was nominated for their first, second, and third term. So we're excited for first term, Renee Fry with the Lozier Foundation, Keely Taylor with the Greater Omaha Chamber of Commerce, and Sarah Nicholson with the Snow Redfern Foundation. Now those nominated for their second term include Rose Godinez with ACLU of Nebraska, Jasmine Harris with RISE, Lucia Pedroza from Elevate Omaha, Karina Perez from Centro Hispano. And then for the third term is Victoria Grasso with the Cooper Foundation, Osaman Isaka with the Simple Foundation, and Rob Tabelco with Cox Communication. NAM board members, as Victoria alluded to, can serve up to 6 years, 3 terms at 2 years each. And so with that, you voted on it. Welcome to the new, this is our board of directors for 2024. So a round of applause. And so we're really excited. You know, you can see we have a really diverse board of all types, skills, and interests. We're super proud. We continue to work on that. We use the GuideStar demographics to really help us focus to make sure that we're increasing the diversity. After today's vote, we actually have four board members that are outside of Omaha, which I would like to say yay, and it's about time. And so we're really pleased as we spread across the state. And then additionally, our executive committee, which the boards of directors, NAM board does vote on, is Victoria Grasso will be our president as of January 1st. Mata Shrinas she is the president at Wayne State College. She'll be our president-elect. Christine Hall is our treasurer. With Appleseed, Rob Tobelko will be secretary, and James Stein will be past president. So yay, we're super excited for next year as we go forward. And I think once again, we have a rock star board. So they're the ones that do the hard work that people want to join. And so thank you, thank you, thank you. And with that, just a couple of things I want you to put on your calendars. We will be hosting once again the Central Nebraska Nonprofit Conference in Kearney. It'll be half day on April 9th and full day on April 10th. We do that with all the area community foundations, Kearney area, Greater Grand Island, Hastings, Merrill County, the fundraising school in partnership with the Kearney Area Community Foundation and Peter Kiewit Foundation will be held out in Kearney in May for 4 full days. Fundraising Palooza will be in Omaha on June 6th. Mark your calendars for the Nonprofit Summit of the Midlands on November 14th. And the NAM training calendar. Check it often, check it early. Lots of good things are going there. And so with that, I think we can do away with the slide deck so we can see everybody. And so thank you. I knew this wouldn't take the whole time, so we can chat, we can take questions. We can give you a half an hour of your day back so you can come to make sure you come down to the NAM holiday party tonight. I saw the menu. It's looking pretty tasty, a catered affair. So I see our new